Hello fellow vapors, Vaping Newbie here, and this is going to be a long video, and I'm going to be looking at today the Rose, and this is a clone from Ivogo or Ivogo. This is going to be the biggest challenge of my shortish vaping career. This is definitely not an atomizer for somebody that's new to rebuilding. There are a lot of challenges that are going to come along with this, and for the hell of it, I'm keeping all my bloopers, so that'll be at the end. Trying to have fun with this, and spoke to my friend Jason from jgvapes.com, and it dawned on me, Jason, why you have this. Mate, you're from bloody England. Of course you're going to have something that was originated in England. Folks, jgvapes.com, the website and Facebook page will be down below. They're carrying this, and right now it's on special for $24.99. Alas, he only ships in Canada. So if you're in the States and you want to try this, buddy up with somebody up here in Canada, get this, because by all what I've seen thus far, and I'm doing this after I've actually looked at the tank, so everything that I've seen this far, it looks very promising and extremely challenging. So I'm really nervous on this one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to change camera angle for a bit, and then we're going to take a look at the unboxing of the Rose. Okay, this is my favorite part of any video. It's the unboxing. Now, this clone is made by, I'm not sure if it's Ivogo or Ivogo, but this is a knockoff of the authentic box. It has Rose Atomizer, and then under that it says note contains fragile ceramics, the name Eden, which is the originator of the authentic, and then over here it says proudly made in England. Not sure about that. Better check the geography on that one. There is no other writing whatsoever on the box. You open up the box, and the thing, when I got it, I was stunned at how much this actually weighed, but you'll see why in a minute. You pull that out, and you have a foam insert, and it is really well done in that nothing can possibly move. Everything has its own cutout. Within that, you have obviously the atomizer, otherwise why would you have this? We're just going to set that aside for a moment. The reason why it was so heavy when I got it is this block of stainless steel. We're going to talk about this a bit further. You get a Ziploc bag here, and this has a bar which will come into play, and an Allen key. You have two ceramic cups, and remember they are quite fragile. You have a polycarbonate tank, center tank, and then in this you have some spare O-rings, and I wish they would have put in some spare screws as well, but they didn't. That's kind of a downside for me. Let's just put this aside and let's look at this stainless steel block. It is engraved with the Rose insignia. I don't know how well you can see that because it is quite shiny, but there it is. And this does many things. As it sits like that, if you wanted to work on the deck and not lose the juice, you simply put it in there upside down. You're going to have to take off the deck and do the working on it. If you wanted to build on it, you can screw this 510 connector in there, and it's a stand for it, as well as you can do your build on it. And then the most important aspect of this, if you look here, there are two little, let's call them nipples. Anyhow. And then a cutout in the center for the 510 connector. And what this does, on the bottom here of the tank, you're going to see two cutaways on either side of the 510 connection. When placed in here, this helps you unscrew the bottom. And that, to me, is really quite something. Now, having said that, I do want to point out that when you get the tank, and we're going to be looking at it obviously more closely, rather, otherwise why would we be here? When I was unscrewing this, what would happen every time I did that was this part, the bottom part, or the capture area, and that's captured for juice, would come off, and I wasn't getting to the build deck. And there's a way to correct that, which I'll show you later. But I do want to take the time to show you this, because this is like an overflow for your juice. However, if you get too much juice in here, it will come out the air hole on the side, which can make quite the mess. So that's why I think that this is going to be quite a good video for patience on my part, and language and whatnot. Now we're going to take a look up at the tank and look at some of the more particulars. I'm keeping this angle because there's several things that I want to go through, and I apologize because it is a longish video, but you have to give it its due. In this configuration, it's all stainless steel. It's very heavy. It's the heaviest tank I've ever held. But it also comes with a polycarbonate tank, which will take some of the weight off. It has a proprietary drip tip, which also acts as a juice flow control. And at the bottom, it has a designed area. Now, there's a space there, and that's there for a reason. Generally, that space would not be there. But I'm keeping it loose for a reason. And then you have this sort of knurled area around the bottom, which gives you a grip for the juice flow control. Now, again, this will all be done in sections so you can get a better look at it. And then underneath it, it is written Rose V2.0 B1. It does have a brass or brass coated 510 connection. And then on either side of that, you have those cutouts, which you'll see why we need those in a minute. And the 510 connection is adjustable. So now I'm going to break it down, and we're going to look at this in sections. Okay, so now when I break it down, you'll see that something that I found was very, very interesting in that the drip tip and the chimney is all one unit. It's all together, and this is your juice flow control. So by turning this counterclockwise or clockwise, you're going to either loosen or tighten the juice flow control. So that is quite unique. Again, something that I've never seen. And on either side, when you take this out, you take that off, you have your build deck. And the build deck on this, again, it's something quite unique. You have at 12 and 6 o'clock of the airflow hole in the center, you have two other holes, and what that is that's where you're going to feed the leads from your canthal. And then on the side, on either side of them, you have some grommet screws, and that's what you need the Allen key for. That's going to loosen and tighten your build that's inside it. You'll notice that it's all stainless steel, and that's what these ceramic cups are for. You put the ceramic cup in, you match it all up, and then you're going to be able to put your build deck in there. It does mention that many people that have used it have said that by having the ceramic cup enhances the flavor, and it helps cut out shorts. So this is going to be very interesting to see. I noticed that when I line it up, when I line up the holes, that the cutouts, if you'll notice on the side, and that's where, and that's on either side, that's where you're going to be feeding the cotton. Now, I do want to get into this airflow control, but before I do, I want to share with you one other aspect. And again, I'm sorry for the interruptions because I'm trying to do this in stages. One of the things that happened when I first got this, and I took it apart, and Jason, this is where the swearing came in. Every time that I went to take out to look at the build deck, what would happen is this. That cup that I showed you, that would keep coming off. And it was driving me freaking nuts. And then I was able to sort of piece everything together. So I took that very heavy metal block that had those two nipples on either side, put those. Now, when I did eventually get, and that's why you have that separation I was showing you before, because I wanted to keep it, I wanted to keep the build deck separate and easy to access. And so when you get the build deck out, there is one other hole on there, and it's right there. It's a large hole that really doesn't have any purpose. Oops, and you drop that, ceramic that's so fragile. What that does is when you put the build deck into this block of stainless steel, then take that bar I showed you before, you can actually tighten, it helps you torque, that you tighten up everything. So you put that bar in the hole, you'd push down and tighten. Now, whenever you want to access the build deck, whoops, you don't get that thing coming off all the time. It was driving me absolutely nuts. So now I can easily access that build deck. Look at this, now it's separating from there. I can easily access the build deck without worrying about that bottom cup coming off. So that is another handy part of this big block. So that is sort of the overall look of it. And I'm going to put in a build. I'm working on a coil right now. And I'm going to put it in, and the wicking is supposed to be the hardest part. So this is going to be very interesting. But before I put it away, there's your Allen key, and then that just goes into these grommet screws that are on the side. And you, by turning that, you loosen and open on either side. And this is why I wish they would have had spare screws. I'm really kind of disappointed, but it opens up on either side. Now I'm going to be able to feed the wires through there. So bear with me. I'm going to get a build going, and we're going to take it out for a test drive. Hi, it's me again, and before I get into the build, I do want to just talk about the threading on this. It really is silky smooth. There's been absolutely no issue. Now, I showed you before how I tightened it. Look how easy it is for me to access that build deck. It is that easy. That was the ceramic cap. Okay, I finally got the coil in, and it took some work, folks. It took some work and some rather rough language. The idea that you have to go through the two holes, the ceramic cup, and then the stainless base on the build deck, and on top of that, I kept getting a short reading, and then finally I took everything apart and went through it piece by piece and was able to locate the problem, fix that, and now we're off to the races. So I'm using 26 gauge Canthal. I did 10 wraps, and it's coming out at 1.15 ohms, which suits me just fine. The leads, or the tails of the Canthal, which come down straight down into the holes, they're about 5 millimeters. You can probably actually cut it to about 4 millimeters, possibly even 3, and that'll be just fine. A bit of a waste of Canthal there, but hey, it's not that big a deal. So now I'm going to wick this, and that's the big challenge. One other thing I want to point out is you want to run the coil diagonally from one of these juice cutouts here, and that's where the wick's going to come out, right there. And from, let's say, from this one to this one, and then you're going to be able to feed the cotton through. Now, history dictates that this is really made for silica, but I don't like silica, so I'm going to be doing a cotton build, or well, a cotton build wick on it, and we'll see how that all turns out. I'll be back. So now we're going to be looking at the wicking, and it might be hard to see, and it's been dirty because I have been using it a lot, but you notice that the wicking, it's very important. There are two factors. I'm using a cotton bacon wick, as I said, a cotton wick, and right here on each side, again, hard to see, but there are notches cut out, that the wick, you separate the wick, you place it down in the notches, and what that does, there's the other two, what that does is it sort of blocks off those notches, and it allows the cotton to actually wick. And there are two aspects. First of all, the amount of cotton is very important. Too much cotton, you're not going to be able to put that chimney back on. Not enough cotton, and it's going to leak. So that's very important to do. It works. I've been using this for quite a while now. Another aspect, the thing that I enjoy, is that right now the tank is full of juice, and I can still get to the build deck if I had to make an adjustment. But I'm happy to say that my build worked out really well. I wish it was cleaner for you to see it, but I didn't want to just do it and then show it to you, and then, you know, I wanted to make sure it worked. And again, I want to give you a close-up because the wicking is so very important that those notches are covered with the cotton or silica if you so desire, but the threads that are around it are clear of cotton, because otherwise the chimney just won't go in. So now I take, you can see there's enough juice in there. It takes about 3.5, 4 milliliters of juice. And now I'm holding down the drip tip. That's very important, because if the drip tip comes out, all your juice will just spew right out. So that's very important. So I hold it upside down. I put in the build deck, and screw that down. Give it a tighten. Now I'm turning and screwing in the drip tip. I'm pushing it up and turning it, I guess, counterclockwise, and that has now locked the juice flow. When now I'm going to be using it when I go to, and I want to change, because one of the things when you're screwing on the build deck is that the airflow adjustment changes. And I thought I was going to suck my brains out one time doing this, but I've just adjusted that. And now I'll open up the juice flow, and I don't know if you're going to see it on your side or mine, but when I open up the juice flow, I get that air bubble that rises to the top. There it is, which allows me to get juice into the wicks. Very nice. It's a no gurgling, nothing of that nature. So now we put it on, and we're going to give it a go. I can't get over the flavor that this is allowing. Very nice. This tank really does a lot more than I expected it to. It's a lot better than I thought it would be. It sure as heck beats out all the K-Funs that I've had. And it is, you know, at the end of the day, they all have a K-Fun-esque build to it. The difference, of course, was how you attached the Kanthal rather than posts. You have those holes that you have to go down. And I have to agree that ceramic must be doing something to enhance the flavor, because it tastes really good. Now, one of the beautiful things about it is what I've been playing with is the juice flow control. I found that by tightening the juice flow control, I was getting a better flavor of it. I'm vaping. This is now registered. I did some adjustments to the original coil, and it's 1.2 ohms, and I'm vaping it at 16 watts. I have tried higher wattages. I was vaping this at 20 watts. And I vaped it at 17.5 watts. It becomes personal preference for that Kanthal. I'm sorry, the 1.22 ohm. I find 16 watts is sufficient. I don't get a burnt taste. I did with the 20. I wasn't liking the taste as much. So the flavor to me was, you can definitely sub-ohm this tank, but in my tanks, I'm not a big sub-ohmer to start with, unless it's a sub-ohm tank. So I enjoy it at the 1 ohm and above, and generally my tanks run between 1.15 and 1.3, depending on what tank I'm using. And then I try to do a particular juice to a tank. This was a brand new juice that I just got today. Not a how would you say, a cloud chaser tank, to be sure. The airflow sort of doesn't allow for that. It is built, in my opinion, and only my opinion, for flavor. Very nice. So that's a good job. I'm going to be using this for a bit. You'll notice from the beginning of the video to now, it has a polycarbonate tank. In the usage that I've been doing it, I was going through juice, didn't realize it was emptying out, and decided, well, to hell with this. I'm going to put in a polycarbonate tank. The weight differential is not that big a deal. It's still heavy. Again, the heaviest tank I've ever used. And so I'm going to play with this a bit, use it a bit, and come back with some final thoughts. Okay, so some final thoughts. I've been using this basically nonstop for about 19 hours, and really enjoying it. I find that a friend of mine once said you can't really do a video unless you used it for a few days. I don't believe that. I think within 24 hours you're going to know whether a tank is good or not, and I certainly think that this is a winner. Very nice. again, for me, it's all about flavor. The Rose meets that criteria. I think it's an attractive looking tank. And you know what? One of the funny things about it, the thing that made me swear, the thing that made me curse, was building it. But vaping was a means to an end to quit smoking. It then became a hobby, and this is just another hobby. It was a bit more difficult for me to work with, but when you work out all the kinks, it's unbeatable for this style of tank. With extremely limited airflow. The ceramic must be giving that kind of flavor boost, if you will. Jason, I think this is a definite winner. Jason at jgvapes.com. They're the only ones I know that carry this in Canada. And I was at a vape shop today, and somebody asked me, what kind of tank is that? And I said, it's a Rose. And this is an employee at a vape shop, and he said, a what? I said, it's a Rose. And I don't think it's getting enough press. I think it's good enough that people should be giving it a try at you know, $25, and that whole kit that you get with it. It's a winner. And a big thumbs up. I think Ivogo and JG Vapes together have put together a very good tank. And if you're into rebuilding, if you have patience, and that's extremely important, you have to have patience, you're going to want to give this a go. So I want to thank you, Jason. I want to thank the folks at JG Vapes, which essentially is Jason, for sending this out to give it a try. Mart, you're going to love yours. A buddy of mine just ordered one today, and be patient, Mart. It's easy to work with. You just have to take time. Folks, I really enjoyed doing that. Stick around. There's a few outtakes, and they're not hilarious by any stretch of imagination, but I don't try to be a perfectionist. But I wanted you to see the goofs that I did do. And, you know, I like having you around. Thanks for joining me. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you learned something here on the Rose by Ivogo. Stay healthy and happy vaping. Take care, folks. Hello, fellow vapors. Vaping Newbie here. And today I'm going to be looking at the biggest challenge in my rebuilding control. Originator of the, or the maker of the authentic Eden. This is an Ivogo. Ivogo? Hi, me again. Miss me? I wanted to discuss some of the things about this before I get into the build deck, and that is from the standpoint of, you know, what the hell's the word I'm looking for? Oops. And this is a tightish draw. The thing about the Rose that keeps coming back to me, and I'm probably going to redo this because I'm messing up badly. Hope you enjoyed it.